Welcome back to another Uncomfortable Opinion. If you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on YouTube and Instagram at The Uncomfortable Opinion. Going to jump right into some impeachment and State of the Union topics. I really do enjoy following politics. It's essentially like my sports stats. So this is going to be the rundown on these things, basically in a nutshell of what's going on. A lot of people don't understand what's happening with the impeachment. You can see that through just interactions of people on videos and things. They think impeachment's due to Russia or the Mueller report or something like that, and it's not. It has everything to do with the Ukraine phone call. And what's interesting about the Ukraine phone calls, Trump released the transcripts after Adam Schiff gave his false transcript, and then he tried to backpedal and say it was a parody, which this is all available, and I think anybody can go and look this up, which I did, and I did it on my phone. So it's pretty interesting that they pushed through impeachment articles for this phone call, which there wasn't anything that they accused him of on it. And again, with the impeachment thing, what's very interesting is they're trying to say he's going after a political opponent and having to withhold aid to dig up dirt on the political opponent. And there's not anybody really paying attention to the four senators who are pushing for impeachment, which are running for president, which would make them political opponents of the president. So that's kind of odd, right? So back to the impeachment topic, there was also rules that the Democrats pushed to get passed that whistleblowers could have hearsay knowledge and not firsthand knowledge of like directly hearing or witnessing something, but they can have somebody tell them something and then somehow they're the whistleblower, and we know hearsay is not reliable at all, and so the entire impeachment case is based off of hearsay. The aid, yeah, there was some aid that was delayed for a short period of time, but yet they still got the aid. The Ukrainians didn't have to do any sort of dirt digging or anything like that. The president of Ukraine even said he didn't have to. So there's a lot to this that's very head scratching, because you don't have any of the accusations being verified in their testimonies. All that the testimonies come are basically people who just don't like Trump. And if you had a line of people who don't like Trump, you could go to any women's march and see that, because that's essentially what the women's march has been turned into, is an anti-Trump march. So it's kind of ludicrous, is a good word for it, of their alleged witnesses for impeachment, because they're not witnesses. They're just people who have hearsay, and none of the people that are being called for witnesses are even on the call. And then the one person who was on the call openly said there's no quid pro quo. There was nothing out of the ordinary with the call. It was a good and normal call. So that's kind of the impeachment in a nutshell. And then you have the State of a Union. My sons and I watched that last night, and it was typical presidential grandstanding. And what I mean by this is every State of the Union is usually a president stating what their administration has done well, or what they've done to benefit our country. And Trump gets to go on a little bit more because he's done more in 3 years than any president in my lifetime has honestly done. And even though they're predominantly economic based, it's still achievements, and he still has the privilege and the right to get up there and talk about it. And you had your typical haters dressed in white who wouldn't clap at anything, even at the heartfelt moments where he was giving examples of lifting up the common community, such as your children of soldiers, the children who got the grant for right of school choice, the mother who had a premature baby who's like 2 years old now, the Tuskegee Airmen. So you had a lot of that these people still wouldn't stand and clap or acknowledge. Also, Rush Limbaugh getting the medal was kind of one of those heartfelt moments, because he has been a political, I'm not sure, a political spokesperson for the Republican Party, and what he had considered logical and straightforward. And he's been very good and accurate in a lot of his talking points. He's done a lot of good work too, especially with his Rush Revere series, trying to get children to see more of the American history instead of the agenda push history, which is promoting fascism, socialism, and communism. So there's a lot there with the Russian. Still with having stage 4 cancer, that's a very nice sentiment from the president. So he has done some cool things. And what was very interesting was the level of petty that was brought at the end of the speech of Nancy Pelosi just tapping those papers and ripping them up, make sure she got both piles and tore them up and laid it down. And somebody asked her later on, Madam Speaker, why did you tear up the speech? And she said it was the only courteous thing to do. I don't know what world of courteous she lives in, but she's there, right? And then you had AOC do her live stream where she said she had to leave because she couldn't take it. And I don't know what she couldn't take, but the ideology of the left has really gotten really so far extreme that it's making somebody like, I don't know, like, was it Roseanne Barr seemed normal in a lot of sense, and she was very left-leaning and radical in her early days in politics. But that's kind of the short and skinny of the impeachment stuff. I'm going to start putting out a few more political things just because I like it. It's kind of like my sports stat thing, and it doesn't mean that it's what my life revolves around. It's just kind of like a hobby, and I like touching base on it because, again, like I said, I do support Trump. I don't trust him because I don't trust any person in that level of power because, again, absolute, like, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. There's that aspect of it, and then again, the only way we can actually better ourselves are not through the federal politics, it's through being better ourselves, by getting involved in our local elections, by helping these things come across to help our communities and things. And every big push to do anything better starts with the individual looking in the mirror and saying, hey, what can I do better today that I didn't do yesterday? And again, if climate's your thing, then you know what can you do better to better the climate instead of getting in people's face and telling them they're wrong? What are you doing better to make your environment better? It's not going and pointing a finger at other people, because let's face facts, nobody likes being told they're wrong, right? So again, politics are kind of like my sports stats. I like giving analytics on them, and it's pretty cool in my opinion, but it's not the end all be all. The real game changers are when we change ourselves and learn to be better, and stop telling other people that they're wrong because we don't agree with them, just hearing them out, and it's like allowing the difference of opinion. And again, this is why I have the uncomfortable opinion, because I want to bring back civil discourse where people can talk about issues and still, either if they have their mind changed, great. If they don't, great. It's about being better than what we were the day before and open up conversations again, instead of just forcing people into hating one another because they disagree, because that's ridiculous and extremely petty, as you saw in the State of the Union if you watched. But that's all I got for today. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, let's be better than what we were the day before. God bless.